Hi, welcome to Knits Up. I'm Mindy, your hostess, otherwise known as KnitterCNY. That CNY is for Central New York. I live in Syracuse. If you're a returning subscriber or viewer, please welcome back. And if you're new to this podcast, it's great to see you. I hope that everybody's doing well and that we're going to have spring soon. We had a little bit of snow squalls yesterday here, so it's nice clear day today with good light. This is my sliding glass door right over there. And so I have natural light coming in to this little corner where my stuff is, my little backdrop. And I'm going to show you some stuff. We're going to do a giveaway, and then we are going to talk about future plans too. So the first thing is I finished an entire blanket in less than a week. I know you're saying to yourself, did she use that Bernat blanket yarn again? No, I did not. I used stash yarn that's been in my stash for about 10 years. And I'm going to hold this up so you can kind of get an idea of this. It's huge. It's very big. It's very heavy. It is a Riffle blanket. I used Karen Simply Soft that is in the stick and stones colorway. I've had this again for about 10 years in my stash. I tried to start a sweater with it. It just didn't look right. I tried to start another sweater with it. I could see the difference between the dye lots. It was just not working for me. So I frogged the entire back of a sweater, part of a front of a sweater that was crocheted. And I had this book, which a friend at work whose wife's grandmother has given up knitting and crocheting gave to me. It's called 21 Gypsy Afghans. Now this is obviously back in the 60s, I would guess, from the turtlenecks, maybe the 70s. And this pattern is just, when it said great for beginners and it looked really easy, this pattern is the first one in the book. It's called the Jiffy Ripple, and it is 4 skeins of yarn, 4 strands held at a time with a size Q hook. And a Q hook, if you haven't used it before, is really big. I should have brought one over with me, but you get the idea. So this has, I think, 7 points on it. And it looks really good. I'm going to keep this for myself. This is my weighted blanket. If you've always wanted to buy a weighted blanket and you don't want to spend the money on a weighted blanket and you have a lot of extra scrap yarn, you could totally make yourself one of these. It's a plain Riffle pattern, so I don't think I'm giving too much away by telling you that it's just single crochet with chevrons. But this thing took about 14 to 15 skeins of Simply Soft in the 3.5 ounce balls, or 3.5 ounce skeins, because this was painted. They call it paints. They don't even make this colorway anymore, but it's weird because it looks brown, but then you get up close and you can see all the variation in there. There's purple, there's blue. It's not really showing up that well, but I'll try and get some pictures of it later. So it's a multi-tone yarn. It's very heavy. This is very heavy. I'm going to keep this as a weighted blanket and kind of use this in the fall, in the spring, on my bed, or out in the living room. I can use it out in the living room too. If somebody sleeps over, they can use it on the bed in the guest room. It's just really nice and heavy. It's, 3.5 ounces, so that'd be, let's say 14 skeins. So 7 times 7 So it's 49 ounces. 49 ounces is a couple of pounds. So that is a very big blanket, and that was made in less than a week. And that feels really good to have done. The other thing that I started last weekend is a scrap lapgan. And this is just cast on 63 and knit across and knit across. It's garter stitch. It's plain old garter stitch. I have 3 skeins of homespun, and what I'm making is just a plain old lapgan, probably for the nursing home. It'll be something somebody can kind of set in their lap, or they can wear over their shoulders. And so I have black, I have a multicolor, which is this, and then I have a dark blue. So all of those together. And I'm using a size 10 needle that I got from the same coworker whose wife's grandmother was giving up knitting. I got a whole bunch of knitting needles. As a matter of fact, there were so many knitting needles, I made one of the other girls at work knits, and I made her a complete set of straights and a complete set of circular needles. So that is amazing. I went out and bought yarn this week, but I did not spend my own money. I had made a coworker a hat at Christmas time, and it was well received. And one of the other drivers saw that hat and asked if he could, where to get that hat. And he said, well, Mindy made it for me for Christmas. And he said, I want 2 exactly like that. One for me and one for my bride. So the yarn that I'm using is Woolies Thick and Quick, and it's Fossil. Fossil is the colorway. I bought 3 skeins of this. What I had done was made a brimmed hat, and when I originally made the one for the first coworker, I folded over the brim and knit it together. I think what I'm going to do for this one is whip stitch the brim in to give it a little more room to move, and so it won't be so stiff and tight. So I'm just knitting a tube right now. I cast on 44 on a size 13 circular needle. These are Crystal Palace needles that were in the stash from the grandmother. Size 13, they're 26 inches. It's perfect for 44 stitches. There's no gapping or anything like that. I'm going to do magic loop when I get to the decreases at the top. These are bamboo. They're really nice to warm up. Just a really, really nice, simple couple of projects. And then there is going to be a giveaway. So you've waited until the end of the video, and I'm standing up for a minute. And you said to yourself, what in the world is she going to give away? Well, she's going to give away sock yarn. This is something that I bought off of Facebook Marketplace. This is Bomb Wool Sockin Effect. It is 48% bomb wool, 39% sure wool, which I don't know what that is. I think it might be cotton. And then it's 13% polyamide. So it's definitely a summer type yarn. The color looks like this. So there's purple, there's blue, there's green. And then there's sort of I think there's purple, green, and blue in there. Those are the 3 colors. But there's 4 50-gram skeins. So you could make yourself a couple of pairs of socks. You could make yourself shorty socks. You could make, this is enough probably for a shawl. It doesn't tell me exactly. It's 100, sorry. These are each 50 grams a piece. So that's 200 grams of yarn. You could make yourself, you know, something with it. But this is what I'm going to give away. And what you have to do to win is you have to be in the United States. I'm sorry, I cannot afford the shipping to another country. You have to live in the United States. That's the first thing. The second thing is you have to be a subscriber. So if you are not a subscriber already, click below and hit the word subscribe, and that'll get you subscribed. Hit the bell too. That'll let you know when the notifications are. And I'm going to open this for 2 weeks. I usually record on Sundays, so it'll be into March, I think, by the time we draw the winner. But these are nice spring colors. I'll kind of hold that up again so you can kind of see. It's still all sealed in the plastic. This I can put in a mailer and mail pretty easily, which is why that's what I'm using for the prize. So if you've never made socks before, this might be a good place to start. If you want to make a shawl with it, you could use like a size 6 or an 8 needle and, you know, make yourself something light and lacy, or just whatever you want to make with this, you can. It's your sock yarn to do with what you want. And it'll look like this. It'll be variegated. It won't be micro stripes or anything like that. It'll just be variegated. It doesn't look like, well, it might be micro stripes. I'm not really sure. But anyways, you'll find out when you knit it or crochet it or do whatever you want with it. Or you could use it for weaving. It would be great for, you know, a patterned scarf or something like that too. What else do you have to do? You have to be a resident of the U.S. You have to subscribe. You have to submit a comment below. What is your favorite thing to make with sock yarn is the question. You could put socks are my favorite thing. I like to make shawls with sock yarn. I like to make sock head hats. I have never used sock weight yarn before, but maybe this is what I'd like to do. I don't really knit or crochet, but I have a friend who knits and crochets, and that person will make me something fabulous with it. So please enter below, and remember those 3 things. You have to be a U.S. resident, you have to be a subscriber, and you have to comment below of what would you make with the sock yarn. So that is it for the week, and I hope you guys have a great, terrific week and go craft something, because it is really good for your mental health, especially on these snowy winter days in North America. Have a great week, guys. I'll see you next week.